Okay, and we are recording. I thought I'd sit down to do this one. All about finance, all about China, all about housing. Now, if you have been following the China news over the last couple of weeks, Evergrande, the second largest developer in China, basically is in debt by $308 billion. And more recently, they were even unable to pay their own or a bond of 298 million. Lots of Chinese investors basically have just lost, you could say, their life savings. And even the CEO has not even made an effort to help, even though he is one of the richest men in China. The other company in China related to housing is Fantasia, and they seem to be starting to have similar problems. But I haven't really done a lot of research on that, to be honest. But I do like drinking a cup of coffee from the Shi Winnie, the mug. Very delicious, not much coffee left. Done lots of videos for today. Cheers. If there are any companies who do want to be affiliated with this channel, then just drop us a line. The email is in the description below. So this title, Don't Invest in China. I repeat, don't invest in China. Now, most of my viewers do come, or 60% do come from the United States. And most of them are, I could say, a high percentage, are sort of like in my age group, 50 to round, or 45 to round about 70-80 years old. And you have possibly already got your stocks, investments, your retirement plan, pension, etc., etc. So it doesn't really concern you. But a lot of people may be interested in a quick buck in China, and they promise you the world. Like a lot of companies, when you do have the money, they do promise you the world, and as soon as they have your money, they sort of like disappear into thin air, and it can be quite hard to trace them. I apologize for sweeping my hair. I'm in front of the air conditioning. It's about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and it's baking outside. It's the beginning of winter here, or the cold season, believe it or not. Maybe it's global warming. So this is just a warning. Don't invest in China. There are plenty of other countries to invest in. If I was going to do it, I don't need to, but if I was going to invest in a country, I would possibly do things like Thailand. I would do things like the country of Taiwan. Developing countries who will use their money wisely and be more than happy to have a foreign investor because they are a democracy. How many times have big companies come into China and China promises them the world, and then suddenly what happens is when things go wrong, thank you very much, bye-bye, we don't need you anymore. And they take all your money. And the thing is, there's nothing, and near enough nothing you can do about it. International law is not in China. Chinese law is in China, and you as the foreign investor are always going to get shunned. In other words, the Chinese person will always win, and international law doesn't apply, even though it should. Look at the islands in the South China Sea. There are so many claims to it, and the international court, the international law says they don't belong to China. But China still built military bases, and again, nothing seems to happen over this situation. Don't invest in China. If you want to invest in a communist country, I would possibly say Vietnam. It's the sleeping tiger. Yeah, it's up and coming. A lot of people don't know about it. People are not so, I don't want to say interested, but because of what happened during the 50s, 60s and 70s in Vietnam, they don't want to because it's sort of like non-patriotic to do so, if that makes sense. If you don't invest in property in China, whatever you do. This is the reason why. Firstly, you can't own land. You would have to have an apartment. You can, as a foreigner, buy an apartment through lots of red tape and lots of paperwork. But after 70 years, that apartment goes back to the developer. So you're not buying, you're just leasing. So, for example, if you did have a Chinese wife, for example, and then the apartment was left to the children were only going to have like 20, 30 years of it to themselves, and then they got to find their own place. It's not like the West, or even here. You buy the house or for example, you own the land for as long as you want until you pass away, or it goes down through the generations, etc., etc. China is not like that. And so there are so many properties. This Evergrande, they owe so much money, not just to the investors in China, but foreign investors too. They're not going to get their money back. They are even asking for the country, the CCP, the government to bail them out. But that's, I would say, is a good and bad thing in a way, because why can't the CEO, he's got billions of dollars, why can't he get one of his buddies or some of his buddies who are also billionaires to help him? But they just think of themselves, and they are not going to suffer. But the employers who haven't been, or the employees who haven't been paid for 6 months, the people who put a deposit down on a house and they pay a deposit each month of $1,000 for example, not getting their money, not getting a house, just blowing their money into thin air. Don't invest in China. This is not just about housing. This is about if you did business. The stocks and shares, don't even go there. It's so different than the United States that they do have insider trading. The people know what's going to happen. So you could say it's possibly, or it was quite easy to invest and get a lot of money back, but it deflates the economy. It's the wrong way of doing it. This is why insider trading in the United States and the UK and Australia, example, is all illegal. Investing with stocks and shares for me is gambling. Property is sort of much far secure. If you want to invest in property in Southeast Asia, I would say Thailand. Or places like the Philippines, Indonesia. Philippines, the law is all in English. You can understand it more. You can't own land, but you can own an apartment for your lifetime, and for other people's lifetime as well. It's not a lease. You own it. You own not the land, but you own the actual home. Very different to China. And the laws in, like, say, Thailand and the Philippines, even though, they are, can I say, well, all countries are corrupt, period, but they're more open in certain areas in Asia, is that the law will be on your side. The housing agent, the property management, the developer does this constantly. Unlike China, and they've done it for a period of time, and you can find some really good investments in Southeast Asia. Don't invest in China. You could say there's a pretty high percentage that you will lose your money. If something goes wrong, doesn't matter how buddy they are to you, they will probably say, thank you, arrivederci, bye-bye, and they run away with your cash, and you can't follow them, because the Chinese law will always go with the Chinese citizen, not the international citizen. So it's just a piece of advice for people who may have a little bit of cash and sort of thinking about the Asian, possibly living in Asia. It's a great place to live. There's so many different choices and varieties. Once you get your visas sorted out, then do invest. Do go and visit China. I wouldn't recommend living in China. I wouldn't recommend working in China at the moment. There's far better opportunities and more fun, could I say, without any restrictions, like in Thailand, for example, or Laos, Cambodia, Vietnam, Indonesia. It's not all doom and gloom and yes, there are some poor places. There is corruption near enough everywhere you turn, but it's just a different style of corruption in Asia rather than anything else. I'm not going to go into that too long, but you get my drift. Don't invest in China. Not at the moment. Don't invest in China with Xi Jinping, the leader of the country. He is the most corrupt Chinese official ever. And again, I sort of mentioned this. His salary is 2,000 American dollars. But how come he's got 1.5 million in the bank? Sorry, 1.5 billion in the bank. Not as rich as Putin, who has 60 billion in the bank, but it's a fair amount for a politician. Don't invest in China. Invest in Southeast Asia. It's a lot safer. There's a better return, and you'll be protected under international law if you do everything correctly. In China, you may do everything correctly, but guess what? No international law helping you, just Chinese law. They will say there's international, but when things go wrong, you lose it all. Don't invest in China. My name is James. Thank you. Bye-bye.